Back, bro.
What's up, my brother? Good to see you again, man.
Yes,
Sorry I
sir.
missed you last week, man. How was it, bro?
Been staying busy.
Yeah.
Been staying busy, especially on these weekends. So we went to the state fair. It was week before last weekend.
Okay.
Wifey did like a cooking presentation. Kids was up there, got to get on the rides.
That's a good look. That's a good look, man.
Pretty cool. And then
Yeah.
last weekend, we filmed. Tone came in and blessed us, you know what I'm saying, with some knowledge. So.
Okay. What y'all touch on last week? What I missed?
Oh, the Venezuelan gangs
Gotcha.
in Denver, and then the bill in California in
Mhm.
1840. Basically, a bill where they would give immigrants,
Mm-hmm.
specifically immigrants, up to 150,000 in loans to get their first home.
Right.
So we, broke down the science of that a little bit. But yeah, we had a good discussion.
Okay. Yeah, man. I heard about it. When I first heard about it, I thought it was fake, But then, I seen it on the major outlets, so then I kind of gave it a little bit more credibility. I still don't all the way believe it, but as far as them coming in and giving them benefits, man, I think that's crazy. That's taken away from homegrown Americans. You know what I'm saying? Don't matter if you're black, white, or purple. You know what I'm saying? You was born here, you pay taxes. That's more your money than their money.
We got to get in on this. We got to
Yeah.
go in on this. Plus2TV.com. I'm Brown.
It's your boy Major, man. We back.
What You Said podcast.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So yeah, these groups, people have the nerve, right?
Mhm.
When we was growing up, the nerve.
Exactly. Yeah.
I know you was talking about Vlad. We're gonna touch on that in a second.
Yeah. The
Right.
nerve of him.
But there's this reoccurring
Mm-hmm.
wave. I think going back to Kendrick Lamar, maybe a little bit before, of this not like us,
Right.
and just this distinction, this delineation between groups.
Mm-hmm.
I just think over the last couple of weeks, especially leading up to this election,
Yeah.
there's been a lot of public now dynamics going on that I'm wondering, is the melanated family looking at? Because
Yeah.
all of it affects us.
It all does. It all does. Yep. Especially with these immigrants that we was bringing up, that y'all talked about last week. Bringing them in, and they getting a hold of these resources and things that should be dedicated to other groups. But the Vlad thing, man, that's crazy. Marlon's really culture. You know what I'm saying?
So explain to me what happened.
So basically, I guess they was in a contract dispute. You know what I'm saying? I guess they were trying to film each other's episode. He wanted to do an episode on Vlad, Vlad wanted to do an episode on him. Marlon hit him with the price of $40,000, and I think a certain amount of percentage out of the revenue of the video. And Vlad, I guess, felt disrespected. You know what I'm saying? Because he I guess his number was too high for him.
Marlon's a legend.
In my eyes, in your eyes. But I
everybody.
guess. But Vlad's response is, "You ain't no legend. Who you think you are, Cat Williams?" I think he insinuated that he was might have had some tendencies or whatever, and but all that happened, and they had a little spat on social media, and now comes back. I think last week, Shannon Sharp, Club Shay Shay, dropped an interview with him, and did millions of views. So I know Vlad got crow on his face right now. So you ain't check it out?
I need to.
Yeah.
I had seen headlines about it because there's been so much going on, but
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's very disrespectful.
Yeah.
When you think about, obviously, Marlon Wayans as an individual, but he's a part of one of the most known brands of
Mhm.
black entertainment around the world, going
Mhm.
back to Living Color.
Right.
Damon Wayans, the whole family, the
Mhm.
sisters. And so he's worth every bit of, when I think of somebody like Vlad, he's not like us, right?
Exactly.
So the Wayans are every bit of why the culture existed for a DJ Vlad or
Mhm.
these other people to be able to come in and make money.
The Wayans grew up like we did. You know all them kids. Somebody pissed in the bed. You know what I'm saying? You took a shower with multiple people in the shower. Y'all yeah. You slept multiple kids in the room. Y'all had some bologna sandwiches, some spam sandwiches in there, some mayonnaise sandwiches, And so then Vlad comes in, and all he is an observer. He first he was a silent observer, then he wiggled his way into the culture. Now he's a paid observer. So when he comes in from that aspect, and we give him a pass. You know, all right, man. Yeah, he's just a videographer. The culture, the media culture, they give him a pass, and he's all right. He's all right. You know what I'm saying? Until he said something fucked up. He said something fucked up about Farrakhan a couple years ago.
Mm-hmm.
They was on his ass, and now he shows his true colors again, right here with Marlon.
I think it's when we think about hip hop, food, entertainment, recreation, all of these are areas where we thrive in. Agriculture.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a thing that we're like, hey, this is just ours and nobody else can participate. But I feel like with anything, if you come in on my table, you have to be respectful to me.
Absolutely.
So
at least
before Vlad was even thought of as an entity, Marlon
Mm-hmm.
Wayans was.
Yeah.
The
yeah.
Wayans brand was.
Right.
So outside of if this person is popping not now,
Exactly.
the groundwork that was put in a long time ago, far beyond before Vlad was doing what he did,
Mm-hmm.
it was literally this family. It would be like one thing if he was just kind of in the cut watching the family, but this is one of like the forefathers
Mm-hmm.
of black entertainment in not just North America but the world.
Right. Right.
And so for him to set any price, like I don't feel like he's valid to set a price on this person's work.
You
Whatever
said
this
it.
person is saying, this is what if he said 100,
Mm-hmm.
like put some respect on my name, put some respect
What
on
you
my
said.
brand.
It is, and that's what it boils down to is respect. He don't respect his contributions the way we respect Marlon's contributions. So he doesn't have that same type of respect. Because he probably only sees Marlon in the funny roles. Probably doesn't, he knows of his family, but that's like reading a Wikipedia page to him. He didn't grow up with the family like we did, you know.
I mean, it's crazy, as above, so below. So this is almost like the political dynamic that we see ourselves in right now. We were just talking about the Venezuelans, and just even on the governmental level. So to follow up, so actually last week, Gavin Newsom, this bill had been presented. The Democratic, liberal Senate had passed it.
Right.
Like, yeah, we'll give immigrants, no so-called African Americans or Americans can get this. Only immigrants.
Right.
Can get this $150,000 in loans. He ended up having to veto it because there was enough smoke. It was a lot of black content creators, and it's funny you brought up Club Shay Shay. It was the underground media.
Yeah.
It wasn't mainstream media. It was the underground media that agitated enough of the grassroots to say, hell no, how are you going to give them something and you haven't paid back the people who built this place?
And you can feel the tide swaying a little bit, because now even the mainstream media has to respect the underground media a little bit more, because they moving the needle more than your Fox Newses and your NBCs and your CBSs. What Joe Rogan's doing and all these other podcasts is they really giving you unfiltered news, you know, unbiased news, not swayed by your big pharma or any of the other
advertising dollars that comes from companies that are not like us.
Exactly what you said. But
it's crazy. I think about before we go into that, what do you think about what happened with the Atlanta shooting?
So the crazy part about that is when I was trying to come up with podcasts for the day, I asked my daughter, I was like, hey, what's something that we should talk about on the podcast? And the first thing I had mouth was the school shooting. And then I was like, so what's your thoughts about it? She was like, how did a 14-year-old boy get a rifle, you know? And she's like, yeah, y'all should talk about that. She walked off. So I'm like, yeah. I'm like, we gotta give some thoughts about it.
It's complex.
Mm-hmm.
So I have 2 kids, and this is my first year. My kids are actually in school.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously I'm on pins and needles as a protective father should be. So obviously you want safety. Then I think about gun ownership rights, and just we're in a political season where the party that's struggling right now, the Democrats, are heavy proponents of gun regulation, gun confiscation, things of that nature. And so it just seems odd that these events keep they happen. It's like, okay,
Right around political season.
right
Yeah.
when this political discourse is going on,
Mhm.
and it's like they said the FBI had interviewed this kid like last year.
Same with
Because
the other
of-
guy, right?
With the same with the other guy who was
Mhm.
on the Black Rock commercial.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
you know, because of some social media.
Right.
I heard a clip of Kamala Harris talking about regulating. We need to hold these social media companies accountable
Mhm.
for people spreading false information online.
Right. Right.
So I'm just, playing this old game of connect the dots.
Yeah.
So she says she's going to be a prosecutorial president if
Yeah.
she gets
There
elected.
you go. Put them together.
She's not like us.
Yeah. We've established that.
She's never identified herself as one of us.
Mm-hmm.
They won't
And
let
she had the chances to clean it up numerous of times.
Absolutely. I bet she's not going to go anywhere campaigning without some armed security guards around her.
Right. Right.
Meaning you understand the value of guns, you understand the value of protection,
Mhm.
arms. But you're also a proponent of disarming
The public.
the public. Okay,
Mhm.
another dot there.
Yeah.
You know, in the Constitution, don't get me lying, but, you're supposed to be able to address your grievances. We do
Mhm.
have freedom of speech.
Right.
Like, I don't like what's going on in the government, right? And so we have that right to have that grievance, and there's also processes within that to address it. And so it looks like between censoring what's being said on social media, which
Mhm.
is something Kamala Harris is a proponent,
Right.
minimizing the amount of people that can protect their inalienable rights
Right.
with firearms, that's another angle. I do think there's a lot more to this shooting than what meets the eye.
Yeah, it does seem like what they would call false flags or red flags have been raised from like you said, the individuals that end up doing the shootings, and then the timing of it is just awful coincidental that it's right around this season. And so they're not doing as well as in the polls as they once were. She did her interview with her president. With her vice presidential candidate.
Horrible.
Yep, and it didn't go over so well. We had questions that we wanted to ask her, or not that we wanted to ask. We wanted her to answer, and I think she used them as a crutch that day. So I think they using back to what you were saying. I think they using. I hate to say it, but I do think that they have tools in their tool bag that they use to invoke emotions, and they know that the emotion will ride longer than logic sometimes. And I feel like that's what one of the plays they put down right now.
It was funny. The interview, the lady said, "Hey, Trump said you weren't black. You
Mhm.
just claim black whenever you're doing politics. What do you have to say about that?"
Mm-hmm.
She's not a stupid woman.
Right.
She said, childish politics. Next question.
Yeah.
She didn't answer the question, and that's something
Mhm.
very easy.
Yeah. Elephant in
say-
the room. Cause she came to alienate her Asian people. That's really what's going on. She don't want to alienate her other side. You know what I'm saying? And she don't want to claim black because she probably never identified as black. She was Jamaican. She's mixed. She's a woman of color, but she probably
Jamaican is a nation.
Jamaican is a nation. She has the Jamaican nationality. Yeah.
And going back to what you were saying,
Black is not a nation.
right? Where's black at?
It has
Where's
no
black
nationality,
land?
right.
You're Blackanese,
I-
black fucking
Mexican.
Black
I got a little Mexican in there.
So it's these little games. These aren't stupid people on the
Mhm.
decision-making level,
Mm-hmm.
right? This country's been around a long time now.
Mm-hmm.
I think about the movie Wag the Dog. Have you ever seen that movie Wag the Dog?
Mm-hmm.
You definitely have to check out Wag the Dog with Robert De Niro. It's very interesting.
So, and then another thing that just made me think about is the reparation thing, right? We keep bringing up the reparation thing, and what you was just saying, we wanted this. The reporters pushing her to in a pit, trying to pigeonhole her into defending her blackness. When we just in our course of this discussion, we decided. We just discovered that blackness is nothing. While we sitting around here waiting, so basically, I'm saying that maybe we asking the wrong question when we asking for reparations. Are we asking for you to pay us for doing us and treating us a certain type of way? But I think the people that we asking to pay us is looking at us like, oh, you just don't want some money? You don't want your land back? like the big picture, like it was some of us already here. You know what I'm saying? All of those Indians didn't look like the red man Indians that we come to see on the Redskin logos and these Brave logos. You know, some of them were copper colored Indians.
You look like your jeans.
Yeah.
So the thing, you got to look at things strategically, and it's deep. You know, it's not me throwing shade on the opposite sex, right? We love our women. We wouldn't be here without our women.
Right.
But, you know, dealing with this one, especially when you're talking about politics, you have to have logic and rationale. Politics, the actual politics or allocation of power and resources, the way things move, definition of politics, has to be based on reality. I want to get to this door over here. I'm not going to have to sign this, jump through this hoop. I can just get up and go straight to this door. When we talk about reparations, and I'm tying this to what you just said, not just the question you ask, but who is asking it. If I have ignorant, and I don't mean stupid, these are intelligent people, but if I have people that are ignorant about all of these little small details about what they're asking me, I don't have to sit down at a so-called conspiratorial table with you. I'm just going to pick my mark because I know they're going to ask me the wrong question.
Exactly.
They don't know that they're complying with what I got going on.
Y'all feeding right into the agenda.
You're feeding right on into it. And so saying that to say there's a critical mass of us now that understand these dynamics of what's going on, but they'll never have a microphone in front of them to answer a question.
Right.
So saying that to say, how do we establish leadership in a space like this? When you realize people can be used as tools, people can, you can throw a carrot in front of people, and, these people don't want to feed their families. These are people that are aspirational with as far as their careers. In the midst of knowing there's a group of people coming over from all these borders that are competing with you now, how do we establish leadership in this moment now?
I think that's a good question. I think there's no real true one defined way to create leadership. But I think one way that you
create a guiding force of real human individuals, not ideology, not belief, not the things that are guiding us in all of these different directions. How do we as a group, when we see these political games going on, establish a leadership base?
We would have to have we would have to set up something in common. We would have some common goals that we all are striving toward and want to obtain.
Name 3 things that blacks, specifically either foundational black, American descendant, slave,
I feel like
autochthonous, indigenous.
What we all could probably agree on would be getting some land.
I want to live in the city. I don't want to be out on the land.
Then this ain't for you.
But there's a large swath of us that have that sentiment.
Then maybe there's a different type of program that may could work for you.
Well, I'm gonna work against you if y'all niggas want land because I want to stay in the city.
Hey, so that's why we ain't got shit now. So I don't know the true answer.
Oh, you just saying that because you get.
Like I'm saying, I don't know the true answer. But I will tell you one thing that I did think about when you was talking about Kamala Harris, and I was talking to it with my wife, and I was talking to it, and I was relating in the form of chess. In chess, the queen can move all over the board. She can move in any direction. The king can also move in any direction, but he's unlimited to moving in one space at a time. I said, do you know the reason why the queen can move so freely? I said, the queen operates with all the power of the state. I said, the queen moves with everything that she came with and everything the king can provide. And she can be, so all of the protection, all of the finances, all of that, she can move freely. Now, she's a valuable piece because she can move so freely, she can go and execute the vision of the king. You know what I'm saying? And then the king is limited in his movements because he has to actually run a country. He has to actually keep a king. A king is only a king with a kingdom. So he has to run and manage said kingdom. So, like that, that's really what it is. And the difference is, so they can elevate a woman to a king's position, but what truly makes a king different than a queen is a king has the ability to lead men and get things done. You know what I'm saying? Like that is why I think that she's ultimately gonna lose. because no matter how we feel about Kamala Harris in the United States, she's going to be the elected president of this United States. She's going to represent us globally to the world. And I don't care how you feel about it, we have some cultures and some countries that just cannot look at a woman in a powerful position and take us seriously. You know, the same, I feel like some of the things that happened over the last couple of years geopolitically happened because they seen the chinks in the armor of America, and they took advantage and they pounced. So like that's just a little bit of my thoughts on Kamala.
How do you tell your daughter, we're in agreement, how do you tell your daughter, especially your daughter that's old enough to understand what's going on, no, I don't want this black woman in this position.
Right.
How do you say that?
You got to be truthful. Like,
and not be a hater, and not be chauvinistic.
See, now, when it's a child, they haven't lived long enough to understand the truths of the matter. Like, they haven't lived long enough to understand women are emotional.
I'm 16, I'm 12. How old is your youngest?
My youngest is 12.
12. I'm 12. Oh, wow, I've heard this concept of presidents. I've seen these pictures in my social studies class. There was one little brown one in 2008, Obama. Oh, wow, I have one that kind of looks like, but she's darker than the rest of them.
I'll tell you how I had this conversation, because I've already had this conversation. As I tell them, like, I'm what you would call, I like the old ways. You know what I'm saying?
The patriarchy.
A lot of the stuff, maybe not the patriarchy, but I don't like the fact, and I tell them the same way I tell y'all when we talk about it. I don't like how they sprinkle a little bit of fairy dust on everything nowadays. You know what I'm saying? I'm watching the best new series out, and season 1, episode 7, you got to sprinkle some fairy dust on it. And I'm like, and then you give me 2 episodes of fairy dust, and then the show goes on, and this ties nothing into the whole story. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're not going to bring this back up later on in the story, why is this here at all? It has no need. Yeah, it's adding spices to a dish that was already perfect. You know, it don't need no salt. You know, so I tell my kids, like, I like it back then. I'm not homophobic. You know, I mean, it is what it is. I tell them exactly how I feel. Like, I like guns. I like my guns. I like freedom of speech. I don't like transgenders sports. I mean transgenders. So this is how I truly feel about it. I feel like the people that should be mad is the women, because the women are being replaced, and the women are being replaced by men. And I'm a man, so when I see when I think of a man, I think of aggression. I think of manipulation. I think of domination. I think of trying to win, right? So I understand that he may be manipulation. I understand that these moves that he's doing, I'm putting all those traits in him when I look at him. Like, why are you doing what you're doing? You know what I'm saying? Who are you manipulating? You know what I'm saying? They at one point in time they was calling them birthing humans, taking away the word woman. You know what I'm saying?
Seriously.
Yeah, like or cis woman, or like just weird terminologies just to change normal. Like I enjoy growing up drinking out of the water. I mean, out of the hose. You know what I'm saying? Like I enjoy the new technology, but the way that y'all trying to push this new agenda, and I know that's what comes with the Democratic Party.
Can I ask you this and take a chance of you getting yourself in trouble?
Shoot.
You can ask me. How hard is it to get a woman to say I'm sorry? Have you run into that problem?
Man, I think that's non-existent, man.
Okay, so we're in.
Yeah.
So imagine this on a grand scale. We have our wives, we have our women, and that word sorry, as intelligent as they are, it's just not in their lexicon. On a grand scale, ooh, I just made a mistake.
Yeah.
Honey, baby, I just spent this money.
Yeah.
Oops.
Yeah.
Not even gonna say oops. So that's just on a domestic level. I can't tell you I'm sorry, even though I'm aware. I'll articulate to you.
Yeah.
My wife will articulate to me that, hey, oops, I made.
Yeah.
but will never utter the words, "I'm sorry."
Yeah.
Let's fix it. I will do you will go a million miles around.
Yeah.
But I will not say I'm sorry. So when we think about politics, I think about the thought about Kamala getting to this and what we're talking about. Do you see our women, specifically our women, not mine and yours, but just ours in general, coming to that black community? I'm sorry. We've let our emotions take over us.
No, because it's in their nature. That they naturally do that. They gonna show you they sorry with body action, body language.
But we're talking about politics that are very strategic, with strategic groups coming from everywhere.
Oh, Kamala would not gonna say sorry. No,
I'm talking about our women voting and supporting.
Oh,
this.
voting for her
Because we already know the outcome.
You
right?
know why? Because it'll take. They probably will 7 years from now.
Are they going to say sorry? Are they going to double down? Or
it depends on how bad it gets.
It's going to get bad.
Yeah, if it gets.
When Obama got in, it was already like so. It was, and we ain't throwing shade on Mexicans, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're willing to work,
Mm-hmm.
this is a free planet. The planet doesn't create boundaries other than rivers and rocks, and so to speak.
Just no favoritism. Hey,
but politically, we're in
Texas.
a much worse situation today in 2024 than we were in 2008, than we were in 2000 and in 2000. Like, we're in a much worse position because we have 20 million more people in this country they're skilled laborers, and they have every right in the world to pursue a better life. And our relationship, you just got to be honest, social media is a lot more has a lot more influence in our lives than it did 16 years ago. And so at the time when we're the most divided in many ways is when we need each other the most. And this dynamic I'm talking about the inability to say I'm sorry.
Right.
It's not to say that we don't have our shortcomings, right? As men, we have all of us have shortcomings, but we acknowledge them, right? Like, hey, I fucked up. Let me start over. A woman like, I fucked up, but I'm just going to keep going until you stop me.
Right.
And so as a man, it's like, I'm trying to stop this flood, literal flood of coming, and at the same time, this which I need to protect, my bad, I need to stop you from creating a bigger mess. And so going back to the original question of what does this leadership class look like? Is it all males?
No, I don't.
Do women belong in leadership? I don't want to get you in trouble. I have an answer to it.
It depends on what you leading. You know what I'm saying? Like, as far as...
Does women need to lead men in the military?
Absolutely not.
In economics?
Absolutely not. Economically, you can run a committee. You can be the top advisor. You can be my concierge. You know what I'm saying? I can take your word. You know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna make my own decision. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, not to say that they're not capable. Not to say that they're just because they're a female, it will be a bad job. But but it's just all the things that come with it. The emotionalness, the lack of empathy, but I really feel like right now they playing the identity politics to the T. They got their hooks into certain people, and they using the propaganda to sway them in a certain way, whether it be rock with her because she's a woman, rock with her because she's a woman of color,
who's married to a Jewish man.
Yeah. All of that is true. All of those three things can be true. And nobody's really digging into the policy. She had made something where they was talking about taxing unrealized and unrealized gains. So it's the way I understand it. That's meaning, so say my house when I bought it was $50,000. Say it appreciates to $100,000. Now I don't. I'm already my property taxes already go up, right? And I pay my property taxes on that $100,000. Now they also trying to tax you on the $50,000. You know what I'm saying? So it's like just adding a whole nother subtle tax in there, and I feel like that is what she's talking about, giving people homes, money for homes and stuff. That is gonna crush the market. I mean the housing market. So I really feel like it's a strategic play. I feel like what they're gonna do is they're gonna add an extra tax that your average American can't pay to make them default on their homes. Also, while raising the value of all the homes in by whatever they give the loan for. So now you're gonna look up and they giving out a extra 50,000. Guess what? Your house is extra $50,000 more because they're gonna try to get that extra 50 that's in the budget now. So they playing political games and I just don't. It's the policies that I don't like. You know,
Do you think Kamala Harris has sat in a room and came up with these policies, or is she a useful tool?
She's the best tool. She's a tool that checks all the box. She's a Swiss Army knife too. You know what I'm saying? She's a woman, so she's a screwdriver. You know what I'm saying? She's black, so she's got a flat head. You know what I'm saying? She's a multifunction. She got a bottle opener and everything. She's a fraternity. She's a fraternity member. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. So she's collecting all these brownie points up and connecting with all these categories. But ultimately, the more they put her, my personal opinion, ultimately the more they put her in front of the TV and make her talk and by herself, is the more she exposes herself
and if
as
I'm
a fake
Putin,
and a fraud.
If I'm Xi Jinping, if I'm one of these
I'm licking
nations,
my lips. I'm a man. All that man shit I was just talking about. I'm gonna eat your ass. I'm gonna eat your ass. I'm gonna dance on your head. I can't wait for you to get in there. You know what I'm saying? That's like an easy win.
You're gonna emotion, sisters. Everything is about you because there's no us if there's no you. We don't procreate. Our race doesn't. Our group doesn't expand without you.
We work for y'all.
So what we're saying is, but we have to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
What you said. Plus2tv.com. This is about honesty, right? Because we're at a point we can't afford the bullshit no more.
No, hell no.
The reason I asked you that question, that was brother Phil Scott on African Diaspora. He went as far as saying, man, I think that women shouldn't be able to vote. And it was because there was a time in the country where women weren't allowed to vote.
Yeah, I ain't gonna take it back that far.
His logic was...
Yeah, you can use logic to justify anything with the right amount.
I cited him, right?
Gotcha.
But his logic was, if you see that there's a base of people who are voting or making decisions, we'll say women, we'll say green pencils. If we have green pencils making decisions that govern everything in this space,
right?
And every time, if you trigger these green pencils, they're going to make decisions that work against this space.
Right. Do
you continue to allow, and it's not like sunning the green pencils, but as a nation, that as a male, you understand, especially in construction, hey, these designs are the way they are for a reason. They work for this nail has to be here.
Right.
This screw has to be here. This slab has to be here.
Right.
You can't just I feel like it will look better. No.
Yeah. Right.
This has to be here. This measures exactly this.
So
I think this will be cute if no.
This goes back to the same thing that we was just talking about. So then, like, your structural shit is up to a code. You know what I'm saying? It has to be a code. So our code used to be our morals and principles and shit. You know what I'm saying? But they done eroded all of that. So now our code is our laws. But now they changing all the laws. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I can see her leading, but not on the structural shit. You know what I'm saying? Now you can once I build this wall, you can decorate it however you want. You can run the paint. You can put whatever you want to do in here. But let me make sure.
The boss of the building. You can be the boss of the building.
Let me make sure the electrician. Let me make sure the electric's hooked up correctly, and your plumbing's gonna work. You know what I'm saying? And the shit ain't gonna fall over.
What do you say when the sister says, "Well, build it, nigga"? I don't see you building nothing.
Do it every day. That's what we doing right here with this with our podcast, Plus2TV. I mean, the What You Said podcast on plus2tv.com. Man. You got anything else to add to the presidential election coming up? Well, how you feel about the Trumpian candidate, man?
I feel like it's a situation. You damned if you do, you damned if you don't.
Mm-hmm.
Like I told you before, I believe at this point in time, it's a grand spell.
Mm-hmm.
It's a grand spell. I'm gonna present you a shit patty over here and a cup of piss over here.
Mm-hmm.
Which one do you think is better? I mean, both are excretions and waste from a body. Kamala Harris isn't stupid. She's a human being. She's somebody's daughter. She's not somebody's mother.
Right.
Which kind of possibly ties into policy, but she's a human being. You know, I don't hate her as a person. Donald Trump, I don't hate him as a person, right? I feel like, so to answer your question, not to digress, for us, I believe we're being shown as a group of people in the Bible, for, you know, if you want to go to that, the Bible says everybody's going to see it all at the same time. Right? And I used to be like, how is everybody going to see everything at the same time? If you're on this side of the planet, we're all seeing this mess happen at the same time. We're getting to a point, I even think, with the censorship, we're going to get to a point where our words are going to be stifled, right? You can't say this. And so I believe we have this window of opportunity for all of us to look at this focal point. You don't have to be intellectual. You don't have to be an academic to see, like, hey, something's wrong. Every direction I turn, there's people here that wasn't here X amount of years ago. And, you know, not that I'm pocket watching, but y'all don't look like y'all are doing too bad.
Y'all ain't hurting.
And so we're at a point now as a people, we understand that family is the strongest bomb, is the strongest nuclear weapon. Nuclear family, how ironic, is the strongest nuclear weapon in this. Because that's the only way we can compete. We can be strong. I can build with these hands. I can grow a lot of food with these hands. I got a little mouthpiece. There's a lot of things I can do, but I understand I'm stronger with the support of not only my woman, but the community of women, the elder women with their blessing, the young women with their energy.
Now that's what we're missing. That's what we're missing. That's what we used to get with the culture. There was a hierarchy. You know what I'm saying? The older, the younger, the middle women still learn from the older women. Now, when our women, we get to 18 and now they don't listen to nobody. You know what I'm saying? Same with some of our men. That's why both demographics is going left. You know what I'm saying? We don't have no older men coming back to teach the middle and the younger.
Uncle Don said it, nigga. We've been trying to tell y'all didn't want to listen.
They might have been talking to the wrong people.
Well, I don't have time because I still got my responsibilities and family I got to take care of. But young man, listen. Like, are you gonna stay away from your responsibilities to try to
right
pour water into a rock?
It's a hard dynamic. I was bringing up the Trump part of it because if you since the last time we talked, RFK done joined the ticket. You know,
that's interesting.
That's interesting. You know, and then Tulsi Gabbard as well. So we was just talking about Kamala and talking about leading the military. I wouldn't let Kamala do it, but I'd feel better if Tulsi Gabbard did it as a person that actually served. You know what I'm saying? Not to say that I would rather have her over another said general. She's just a general that's in the forefront. But I do understand, like, that's their identity politics. Their identity politics is to pull the military in. They're gonna play the cop card, even though the Democrats been playing the cop card too, man. You know, they're gonna play the Second Amendment, the First Amendment cards, because those is typical talking points. And then they dived into the conspiracy theories too. You know, I mean, RFK, both of his, a lot of them, he's definitely against.
So what the move that they made, not to cut you off, Trump is still sticking by his decision of the Operation Warp Speed and commissioning he's sticking by that. And the mind is like, dude, you don't see, like, there's issues going on. You know, whether you agree with it or not, there's issues. And he stands firm. So some in that group believe, he's doing that strategically just because for him to be effective later, he has to play the game. So it's like bringing RFK on. It's like you can say something that I can't.
Yeah, exactly. So and RFK questions everything. He questioned the polio vaccines and linked to autism, which the more vaccines we've had, the more
sicker
new maladies we've had. You know, so these new vaccines, they won't tell you of all the side effects, but they do lengthy studies, 20, 30-year studies that they don't produce to the public. And some of these studies, you know, they actually say that, yeah, there's a correlation here to there, and, you know, they might break it down in what we might call it a certain name, and they might call it by another chemical name, but they're doing the same type of comparison.
This is deep. So this is about 9 billion people on planet Earth right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
There were, I think they said, 2/3 of the population.
Mm-hmm.
2/3. Now, regardless of how a person feels about it, the majority of your planet,
Mm-hmm.
forest that you live in,
It's a new species.
and so when you think of, I'm still on the question about leadership, establishing leadership, right? It's because it's very complex. There's a critical mass of people that are remorseful about it. Now that we're seeing the news, or I'll say now that people are seeing the news, there's a group that's like, I'm a pure blood, I'm cool.
Right.
And is that not creating a new divide that didn't exist?
Absolutely.
So to establish, so say I'm an elder and I made that decision. Can you trust that elder's decision making, right?
You can't let one person, one of
when I say that elder in general,
but you can't. But you can't let one instance, wipe out a whole, life.
It's a judgment issue.
Yeah,
it's a judgment issue.
Now, what you can do is be like, it can give you apprehension. You can be like, make you think about it like a half a second longer. But if you still got, when we go back to respect, you still got that same respect for that person.
Absolutely.
I mean, as long as he ain't foaming at the mouth and I ain't getting boils when I get close to him, shit, I can take some advice from him.
There's some deep things going on right now here.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say so. Law enforcement understands if I really want to be effective, I have to have people within my ranks that the community trusts.
Mm-hmm.
I can't just keep pulling up on you in the same vehicle. I'm still answering your question about Trump. Still answering your question about the race. And so, you know what a Judas goat is?
No, tell me about it.
So a Judas goat, it leads other goats to the slaughter. And so this is a goat that I feed a little bit more, and I just need you to lead these other goats to this chute.
Yeah.
So I can chop them and do what I need to do. So I'm going to feed the Judas goat a little bit more.
Yeah.
And the Judas goat is willing to do it.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to lead all of these others to the slaughter.
Mm-hmm.
And I get rewarded.
Ah.
So that
so he lives?
He lives.
Oh, okay.
Because he's the one that leads. It makes it easy for the farmer.
Yeah, yeah.
No farmer is just raising a goat for a pet.
Right,
or a sheep for a pet. I'm raising you to get your wool or your meat.
Right.
Or your milk. I don't want to have to chase each one of y'all down, so I'm going to incentivize a handful of y'all to just lead them to the chute.
Yeah.
And I'll give you a little bit more feed. So saying that to say, I remember here locally, and it's not throwing shade on anybody. These are people I respect at the end of the day as men. But there were people that were, I think about juvenile vax that thing up. And it ain't about the shot, it's about the principle of how people can either be paid, coerced, scared, or co-opted into leading people in certain directions. We have to have some form of leadership. I hear people, the code is the leader. Well, everybody don't agree on the same code.
Yeah.
And to address this, the politics don't matter if we don't have like a consensus. We have to have at least 60% of us to agree with something to even be lightweight effective.
So how do you? I know you asked me the same question, but how do we identify said leader? How do we?
I don't know because there's some.
Does he need to be molded? Does he need to be made? Are they born? And then we just ain't found them, or we just not paying them any attention?
We need leaders now that have lived, right? So in theory, elder, like I don't think I know, right? Because we got to deal with logic. So you need an elder class that people will listen to. I'm jaded on preachers. Like I don't do the preachers at all. I don't trust preachers.
What do you think about? What do you think about if we go back to some of the, not everybody identifies with being African, but what if you go back to some of the African cultural dynamics? You know what I'm saying? Where there was, once you was of a certain age, you became I forget what they call them, but Alba or whatever, and it was a group of them, and they would sit down and they would hold council. You could take your problems to them. You would give them offerings, not like offerings, but you would pay them for their time. You would make that be worth their while, and they would deliberate over your problems and give you a suggestion to how you should handle it, and you get the benefit of taking your today problem and getting 80, you know what I'm saying, 90, 100, all of these different years added up to actually answer your said question, which you could only have your input
Right.
over your 20, 30 years when you asking said question.
What outside of take church out of it? We'll just talk about Lexington, Kentucky. Take church away, take ball games away.
Mm-hmm.
Where have you seen more than 50 black men? Because I do believe leadership structurally should be males.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, not sorry.
Right.
It should be males to build this house for the women to do what they do. Where have you seen more than 50 elder black men? I'll say over 60 in Lexington. Take away ball game, take away church.
Man, it's rough, but I'm gonna say at the Hope Center off of
That's horrible.
Newtown Pike
That's horrible.
and probably Fayette County Detention Center, man.
Hope Center, Detention Center, Roots of Heritage.
Maybe Roots of Heritage.
Once
Maybe
again,
Roots.
celebrating, right?
Yeah.
Like, but actually, like, we sitting down,
Mm-hmm.
though we, as elders, we're different, we see things differently, but there's a common thread.
Mm-hmm.
We got a job to do with these younger ones that's maybe 10 years younger
Mm-hmm.
than us, because they have a job to do for the ones 10 years younger than them.
Right.
Like, it's a stair step, but it's like, where's that order outside of your lodges, outside of your Divine Nine or whatever? Like, does that order exist? Like,
I think
out of the loop.
I think the reason why those organizations are successful is because they established the structure.
Who established it?
Whoever came up that found this TED organizations.
How is that manifested today in 2024? At those organizations, you go through the South,
No.
like all my uncles and aunties, Eastern Stars, Masons,
Yeah.
I'm like, this place is horrible down here.
Yeah. Yeah. I understand. No, it hasn't trickled down because what is their main objective of said organization? Is it to uplift the community and the betterment of the people? Is that their true underlying factor, or is it for the benefit and the betterment of said organization? That's two totally different models, I'm not privy.
I don't know, but we are getting flooded by a group of people who have order
Mm-hmm.
and a purpose and a mission and cohesion
Mm-hmm.
to seize what we have here. As we stand here, as we're talking, I ain't gonna talk your head off, man. It's really been getting to me.
Yeah.
It's really been getting to me because, like I said, it's lit, and I don't just go around looking for it, but in every direction I turn my head, I'm like, they're everywhere.
Oh yeah.
They're everywhere.
Yeah.
I remember it was only you gonna see a black person or a white person,
Mhm.
so I'm not that. I'm 43.
The world.
So in a small amount of time, it's literally like there has been a flood, and it's not getting addressed.
This is another thing I wanted to bring up when we was talking about said in Venezuela. Another way I see these immigrants, this is all still my personal opinion, is that some of these immigrants is running from fucked up situations. Said whether it be political or war torn governments, but there's like a common denominator in a lot of these places. And in a lot of these places, the common denominator would be said the USA intervention, whether it be a coup, but there's some type of CIA involvement. Venezuela used to be a good trading partner with us.
Oil.
Yeah, we used to do oil. They used to have tourism. They used to be a stop for cruise ships back in the day. But whenever they got a leader that didn't want to play ball with the U.S. anymore, now they get hit with sanctions. Yeah, they hit the political button on them, and they basically shut them out. Same way they did to Cuba. Now Cuba's got a trade embargo. We ain't trading with Cuba, and Cuba's riding around in the 50s. So, but a lot of these immigrants that are coming in now are what you would call the chickens coming home to roost. You know what I'm saying? These are the this has got the fingerprints of CIA involvement all over South America, and now they done gave them this, they done sold them a dream, and they was like, well, if I gotta leave my home, I might as well go to America. You know what I'm
all
saying?
the bright,
Yeah.
shiny, the pristine water.
Then when they showed up, they used them again because they was like, now we can use them as a political tool. Yeah, we can get you in to get these people riled up. We're gonna give you this money because we print the money anyway. Just as long as once you get in, you vote for me. You know what I'm saying? You rock with me, right? You rock. We good? You good? All right, cool. You good? Take that money and go on about your business. So it's a cold organization. It's a cold, smooth move they running. And ultimately, I really feel like they setting this up for a fall.
They're setting it up for a civil war.
Mhm.
They're being used as a buffer class. I'm gonna get you good and comfortable. Get you coming from a hard place. I'm gonna get your feet set up. Your woman's happy with you.
Mhm.
Make you feel good. America's great. Them niggas been tripping. That's
Mhm.
right when you get your feet set up. Because
Yeah.
this is avoiding the reparations. America because it's inflated anyway. With 35 trillion in debt, right? They don't have it to give reparations.
Right.
According to
They didn't have it to give to Israel or Ukraine either.
You're right. In theory. So we're in theory.
Yeah.
But what's gonna happen? Okay, I can't get rid of you. I want to sleep comfortably, as the master said. I just want to sleep comfortably, and I can't because these niggas keep asking me for what I owe them.
I'm gonna put version 2.0 versus
I'm
version 1.0.
I'm gonna get this group of people right here.
Mhm.
Get them good and comfortable. Because if I just tell them, hey, I want y'all to come here and fight them, you're going to talk to some of them.
Mhm.
And these Negroes going to tell you what's happening. You're like, oh, I ain't riding with you.
Yeah.
So I'm going to make you feel good. I'm going to roll the red carpet out for you
Mhm.
and give you a couple of years to get good and comfortable. I'm going to keep presenting these narratives. These are black people like they're lazy, they're contentious.
Mhm.
You see Sexy Red, this is black women, you can't take, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
you put out the worst image. You see these men,
Yeah.
feminine or whatever, put out the worst images. So now you're dead in the eyes of these people that's coming here.
Mhm. Now they don't respect you. So now when something does happen to you, they be like, "Psh,
And
go
so,
ahead."
so when that rug gets pulled, they're like, well, Paco, Daquan wants me to give him some money,
Yeah,
and I only
yeah.
got $10.
Yeah.
So if I have to give Daquan this money, I ain't gonna have none for you, Paco.
Mhm.
So what's Paco left to do? You done got me all the way thousands of miles from home.
Mhm.
My family is here. I had gotten kind of comfortable with my feet up,
Yeah.
and you telling me all I got to do is just eradicate Daquan?
Yeah.
And some levels is physical violence,
Right.
kinetic war. Some of it's economic, some of it's political.
Mhm.
But Paco ain't gonna be like, now let me go over and talk to Daquan
Yeah.
and figure out how we can divvy up this 10. No,
Yeah.
Paco gonna be like, all I gotta do is just link up with my dogs and
Yeah.
move them out the way. The
Mhm.
Sexy Reds, the
Exactly.
cool. And so you got Paco from Venezuela, from Pakistan, Palestine, Mexico,
Mhm.
Africa.
Mhm. Well, you thought we was gonna compete with that with the Avengers? No, it's our ass, brother. Yeah, I'm just saying. So yeah, like you said, not only do we need like you said the leadership, but we need. I feel like the structure is just as important as the leadership.
You
Because
have somebody to lead the structure.
yeah, definitely do.
We've been going, man. I could go for it. What do you before we get out? What do you think about Rich Homie Quan?
Man, I actually liked him when he first came out. I thought him and Thug was gonna be a super team. I thought there was gonna be Boosie and Webby, and you know they ended up falling out. Man, it's a lot that was wrapped around Rich Gang and Birdman right there in them couple years. You know, I think his dad's barbershop got shot up. You know, a little bit later, Wayne's tour bus gets shot up.
Mm-hmm.
They had said allegations that Thug wanted him to do some gay shit, and he booped out and dipped, and I think his career was never the same. I don't know. At one point in time, he was the best. He was the biggest thing. He was the biggest thing moving, and he came real quick and he fell real quick. So I know it's got to do a lot to a person and an artist. What about you? How you feel about it?
You was showing me that clip he was talking about. He reached the peak of about 120K a show,
Yeah.
and then dropping a 12.
Yeah.
It's almost better that you never even
Yeah.
got the 120. And you can only imagine. I think it's ironic how many of our artists they say are dying of drug overdose. I think that's one thing. Whoever owns his catalog right now is about to make a huge bag.
Absolutely.
And there's this thing about artists being more valuable dead than they are alive. So I think all of these things together, and it ties back to what we started this whole conversation. They not like us. Those that aren't like us are in control of every area of our lives that is important right now. I hate to admit that as a man, but music, not in charge of it. Homes, not in charge of it. Politically, not in charge of it. Food, schools, not in charge of it. And so, one of the reasons we continuously have this discussion, and this ties back to Rich Homie Quan, how do we avoid this? He was 34 years old, man. Like, he had so much life ahead of him.
He was doing a lot of coping. So he was doing a lot of coping, and then it was a lot of ego. You know what I'm saying? He got his ego inflated, and then when he got that rug pulled out from underneath him, he was stuck with that inflated ego, and I think in that same interview he had said that he had got to the point where he couldn't go and do a show or an interview without being loaded. So that's just that right there is a sign of addiction. We got people all over America. America in general has an addiction problem. Whether it be food, we more obese than than our nation has ever been. Back in the day, if you was 350 pounds, they put you in the sideshow. It was an anomaly. You know what I'm saying? Now you go to Walmart, you go to these grocery stores and things, and that's a normal thing to see a woman or a man that weighs that much. That's food addiction, alcoholism's at an all-time high, COVID locking everybody up in the houses for months added to that. So, and a lot of that comes back down to mental health, and we just gotta be more and more involved with people. If you see them struggling, sometimes you can see them struggling before they can see themselves struggling. So sometimes it's up to that friend or that loved one to reach out to them and be like, hey man, tighten up. You know you're losing weight. You know what I'm saying? When last time you ate?
Right.
You drunk yesterday. You drinking today? Type stuff. So yeah, that's just it's sad. It's tragic. Since condolences to his family and his kids. But what about you, man? How you feel about it?
Like I said, we do this show, plus2tv.com, What You Said podcast. We do this, we want to use surgical precision in identifying things that affect us directly, and then surgically, what can we do to fix this? Not what we think, like this will work. And so as we have this conversation, family, it isn't being negative. It isn't being, doom and gloom. I think the situation with Rich Homie Quan, definitely sending condolences to his family, friends. He's obviously met a lot of people that care about him as a human. But I think these are flashpoints to address some of what we've been talking about. Rich Homie Quan represents, I would say, hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of black men in what we call North America, who have had this proverbial rug pulled from under them. This concept of the American dream, the weird concept that we got, is yanked from under us right now. And so on so many levels, so many different ones of us are experiencing stress, and we cope with drugs, like you said, food, sex addiction, chemical addiction, all of these things that are keeping us out of being able to compete with this flood of people.
Right.
And so saying that to say, keep it simple, stupid, the solution is not as hard as you think. The solution is very simple. You need leadership to create a structure. We need a crew to create the walls on this structure. And we need to empower our women and give them the love, the support that they need to keep things running within this structure.
Right.
You know, on a simple level. Now, how to do that? That's the trigonometry of it.
Right. Well, first you start off, you get some like-minded people. You know, you get somebody. You don't always need to be the smartest person in the room. If you're the smartest person in the room, you need to leave. You know what I'm saying? Find you a better room. You
Right.
know, and you gotta be able to take criticism and learn something new every day, family. This is a beautiful life we live. You know, it's non-scripted. So just take it day by day and enjoy it, you know. And most of all, enjoy the time you spend with your family and your friends, man. Yeah, man, it's a tragedy that we lost a young man. But like he said, use this as a flashpoint. It can happen to anybody any day. Get your situations in order. You know, that's something we don't ever talk about. Is maybe we could talk about it another time. You know,
We got to get the crew in on that.
Yeah.
That's a deep one.
Like life insurance and stuff, and just making sure that you setting your family up the best way possible, no matter what. So that's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to show responsibility and growth, and as young men, as friends, and we're just trying to present it to the world. So thank y'all for checking us out, man, on the What You Said podcast. Check us out on plus2tv.com. It's your boy Major.
I'm Brown.
And we out. Peace.
Peace.
Sweet.